Alright, so with God's help, we're gonna learn a little bit of the Sefer HaRokeach, which I think it means the perfumer. Yeah. Elokim v'anashim mashmach hektish keroav ve'achin mitavach. Okay, Elokim v'anashim mismach. What does it mean, ChatGPT? What does it mean, mem shin mem chet?
Absolutely. So that abbreviation, Mishomach, stands for Misamach, which literally means who authorized or who empowered. In other words, it's asking who gave the authority or who conferred the permission. So in that line you
Elokim. Wait,
mentioned,
it says Elokim ve'anashim, and according to your version, mismach hakadish keroav ve'achin mitavach. Okay, so how do you explain this whole part?
absolutely. So let's break it down. The phrase Elokim ve'anashim misamach hakadish keroav is basically saying God and people who were authorized or sanctified as his close ones. In other words, it's talking about those who were given authority or made holy in a certain way to be like his intimates or his chosen ones. And then ve'achen mitabach would mean, and also
How
from
would
the
it say?
altar or
How
from the
would it
sacrificial.
possibly say? How would it possibly say that Elokim was given permission by somebody, though? You know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It does sound a bit odd to think of God getting authorized by someone else, and that's probably not the intent. What's likely happening here is that the text is referring to both God and certain people who were authorized or sanctified. In other words, it's not that God is being authorized by someone else, but that the people mentioned are the ones who are receiving some kind of authorization or sanctification. So it's really just a phrasing thing, and it doesn't mean God needed
Elokim,
permission from.
Elokim ve'anashim mismach hektish keroav ve'echin mitavach. Okay, what does it mean ve'echin mitavach?
Absolutely. So vehechin mitabach literally means and he prepared from the kitchen or from the cooking area. In this kind of context, though, it might be a reference to preparing something from the altar area, since in older texts, mitabach can refer to a place of slaughter or preparation of offerings rather than just a regular kitchen. So it's basically saying something like he prepared from the altar area or from the place of preparation.
All right. Let's just throw this into the translation. Trans.
Sure thing. So putting it all together into a translation, that phrase will come out to something like,
Trans. Okay, how would it come out?
absolutely. Putting it all together, you could translate that as God and the people whom he authorized as his close ones, and he prepared from the altar. So it's basically saying that God, along with the people who were given that special sanctified status, prepared something from the holy area or the altar area.
Okay. Vanishing mismach. Hakadish? How would you read that? Hey, Kuf, Dalid, Yud, Shin.
Absolutely. That word is pronounced Hakadish, which basically means the holy one or the sacred one. So in that phrase, it's referring to someone or something holy. So you'd read it
Elokim
as Hakadish.
Vanishim Mismach Hakadish Keroav. What is Keroav?
Yeah, of course. So Keroav is pronounced Keroav, and it means like his shepherd or like his friend. The word roeh,
Kuf Reish Vav Aleph Yud Vav.
got it. With those letters, Kuf Resh Vav Aleph Yud Vav, the word is Keroav, which can be understood as like his close ones or like his intimates. In other words, it's referring to those who are close to the Holy One, kind of like his chosen or intimate followers.
Excuse me. Bechin Mitavach Mem Tet Beis chet. How would you read that?
Absolutely. So those letters, mem, tet, bet, chet, form the word mitzbach, which is pronounced mitzbach. That just means kitchen in modern Hebrew. In older or more classical contexts, it can also mean a place of preparation, like for sacrifices. But here, it's basically kitchen. So you'd read it as mitzbach.
Okay, so read the whole sentence all together.
Absolutely. So altogether, it would sound like this: Elokim ve'anashim misamach hakadish keroav vehechin mitzbach, which basically means God and the people whom the Holy One authorized as his close ones, and he prepared from the kitchen or from the altar. So that's how the whole sentence flows together.
El kol ish mem tzadek vav kuv. What does that mean? Umar nefesh v'rotzach. What's this next sentence say?
Absolutely. So that abbreviation, mitzuach, is actually a shorthand for mitzvah kala, which means a light
No, no,
commandment
no, no,
or
no.
a minor command.
El kol ish mitzvak v'mar nefesh v'rotzeh. To every single person, what is mitzvak v'mar nefesh v'rotzach?
Yeah, of course. So mitzuach isn't a common
No, it's not
standalone word in
mitzuach. It's mem tzadik vav kuf.
Ah, got it. Thanks for clarifying. So with those letters, mem, sadi, vav, kuf, the word is mitzuach, which isn't a standard Hebrew word, but it might be an abbreviation or a term from a specific text. It could be shorthand for something like mitzvah kala, a minor commandment, but it's not a common standalone word. If it
All right. Matzuk. Matzuk. Hard strips. Mar nefesh v'rotzach. Dang, look at this. Alright, so with God's help, we'll come back to the next video, but look, we kind of want to check out this one really interesting thing he says here. The source of love of God. Very interesting. Shehem Shaveh Sheker. So interesting. בשלוש עשרה מקומות בתורה אז הראינו לאהבה אותו בספרי אחד ואהבת את השם אלוקיך, עשה מאהבה שהעושה אהבה. Alright guys, so far so good. Sounds super interesting so far. God's help, we'll be back with you guys in the next couple of videos. We could try to learn more about this. With God's help. So far, it's super interesting. Other than that, we'll see you guys in the next video. With God's help. Alright you guys, peace.